Welcome to the perfectly placed preview for the race meeting at Hollywoodbets Kenilworth on Saturday, the 12th of April. We're looking forward to the meeting. There's 10 races on the card, and just to remind you, we have two features, being the listed Sweet Chestnut Stakes and also the Grade 3 Variety Club Mile. So looking forward to that. We also have a bunch of juveniles that are stepping out, some really well-bred ones, so looking forward to how they're going to fare. And the other most noteworthy fact about this race meeting, it's the first Western Cape race meeting where juveniles are competing in open company. This program is pre-recorded, so please make sure you update your race cards, etc., with the updated card changes. And also, if you please can go to Cape Racing's YouTube channel and subscribe so you can get the up-to-date notifications when new footage and new stories, etc. are posted, together with a perfectly placed interview. So a whole bunch of information for you to just enlighten yourself with. Let's get started. Race 1 is the Hollywoodbets Kenilworth welcomes you maiden juvenile plate over the 1100 meters, and this is where I'm getting into the horses that are very well bred. So looking at it, number 2, Asikule, is the standout. That most certainly is, it's the son of Erupt, ran second on debut behind Military Command, who essentially was the Cape Racing Sales Slipper winner. But I think this was a good enough debut, was reported as green, and he'll improve a whole bunch. So he is the absolute focus in race 1. The other horse that there's a bit of support for is a first timer in number 7, All the Rage. So keep an eye on how he looks in the parade ring. I quite like, so my selection for the race is number 2, Ashikule, and number 11, Demanding Dave Swingers. Demanding Dave's a very nice improving youngster. He's had 2 runs and just was a completely different horse after gelding. So he's substantial and he's lovely. So looking forward to how that all pans out. Race 2, it is the Cape Turf Club Syndicate's maiden juvenile plate for the fillies over the 1200 meters. And just note that this is the first leg of the bar pot. There's a number of horses that really are in focus here. Number 1, the Unicorn, good second run, ran second behind Cliffscape. You've got number 2, Paralegal, the daughter of Captain of All from the Vaughan Marshall Yard, who ran second behind Jordash. It's more about the pace that she showed on that occasion. You have other horses like number 11, Scandalize, is a horse for me I'm keeping an eye on from the Glen Cotton Yard. It's a very good family and they improved quite a lot. So keep an eye on that one. And the last one would be Marquetta, number 12. So a number of horses that are really fancied and that will shine and will also improve from their first run. So some horses have had good debuts and again will improve with a bunch of the first timers. But I do feel that race 2 will go the way of the race horses with the experience. So just to take you through my my bar pot, it is first leg is 1 to 11, by 4 and 8, by 2 and 5, by 2, 4 and 8, by 3, and last leg is 2, 6 and 11. Race 3, it is celebrating Centurion member Nick Johnson's birthday. It's an open maiden for the fillies and mares over the 1200 meters. This marks the first leg of the place accumulator, and quite competitive horses running here. You've got a horse like number 8, Wild Applause, number 4, Thingamabob, and also Alex Miller. So I think from that point of view, together with number 9, Cape Captain, would be the standouts. And being the first leg of the place accumulator, I think you could get away with just 4 and 8. Maybe if you want to go a little bit wider, you can include number 6, Alex Miller, just due to the consistency. But talking about Thingamabob, good debut, and I think that's the type of run that we really need to focus on. And number 8, Wild Applause, I think if you look at her form over the 1100, 1000 meters, 1250, whatever, all I'm saying is the distance is below 1400. As soon as she goes 1400 meters, she doesn't really run too well, which is quite surprising because her full brother, Getting Pressed, does well over a mile. So interesting, but I think Wild Applause over the distance is spot on. My selection for the race is a win on number 4, Thingamabob. Race 4, the Centenary Syndicate maiden plate over the 1000 meters. It's the quick dash, and I do feel that over the 1000 meters, the filly that's, well, she's getting her sex allowance, she's taking on open company, is number 5, Heritage Ridge. I think this is her moment. Finally, I think her last 2 starts have been very good. She shows a fair amount of pace. Muzi Yeni aboard, who is the type of jockey that enjoys front-running tactics and using horses. She's got a great action. I think based on that, she'll be going forward beautifully. Number 2, Tripping Thunder. He too has a fair amount of pace, so it's going to be a little bit of tactics between the two. We've got Chad Little riding, but Tripping Thunder for me, ever since the blinkers have been fitted, he's definitely done a really good job. Number 3, Give Me a Thrill. Better last run, and I think based on that he can feature. He's also a lightly raced horse with scope for improvement. And let me just remind you too that Brett Crawford's yard went through a little bit of a quiet patch, of which they've really come back in a big way. So I think there's some of Brett Crawford's horses that if you look at recent form and you think, oh, what happened there, I think you can look past that and take it on some of the earlier form around sort of November, December, January was somewhat of the quiet patch. So don't rule out Brett Crawford is all I'm saying. So being the first leg of the pick six, let me take you through mine. First leg is 2, 3, 5, by 2, 4, 8, 10 and 12, by 3, 5, 7 and 12, by 2 and 11, by banker 7, by 1, 2, 4, 8 and 12. Race 5, celebrating Centurion member John Freeman's birthday. It's a maiden plate over the 1400 meters. And earlier on I mentioned juveniles taking on open company, and you've got number 2 Vapor Trail here. He's half brother to One Stripe, so most certainly a talking horse. He's going not only taking on open company but also stepping up in trip to the 1400 meters, which I think you'll quite enjoy. The only factor is he could be green, so that's one thing that you have to take into account. I do think that he will be competitive. I just don't know if as a horse he's ready to really threaten the older horses. So I'm a little bit on the fence of how they're going to go. I'm really in the camp of number 4 Gold Dust. I think that he was an unbelievable horse last time. He's still big and immature, but I think from his last run he showed a lot more speed throughout the race. He was a little bit snatchy and there was a horse on his outside, so still slightly green, but I think Craig Zakia aboard number 4 Gold Dust, I believe that he could most certainly be the winner of the race. Other one to respect is number 8 Konnichiwa, who's definitely in a fair amount of consistent form currently, and from there on you can look at a few more horses like number 12 Louis Star, etc., who's also a filly taking on the boys. So it's a little bit of an open race from that point of view, but Vapor Trail would most certainly be a principal on his form and his scope for improvement. My selection for race 5 is an each way, number 4 Gold Dust. Race 6, the Sweet Chestnut Stakes, a listed event over the 1400 meters, and it really is a spectacular field of horses. The average rating's 100, and you've got some really well-performed horses in here. Interesting, number 1, Be Merry. I'm not convinced about the trip, but she's drawn well, and I think that helps a lot. Number 2, Gold Poker Game. I think a little bit sharp for at this stage. In saying that, Candice Bass Robinson's got a number of lovely runners in the field. Number 3, Princess Izzy. I like her over the trip. I really feel like she's a very game filly. She stood up to every task. She's taken on this caliber of horse and been really on top of them. So I think for me, she's one of the principals in the field, and she's my selection to win it. Number 5, Kinda Wonderful. I think you most certainly have to consider in this race. I thought her second behind Give Me Everything, who's gone on to win in KZN. I think that form has been franked, and I think Kinda Wonderful. I think this is the right type of race for her, and well found by Eric Sands. The other horses like number 7 Call Me Getrix and number 12 Miss World have to be considered. I thought number 7 Call Me Getrix, even though this is almost a step up in class for her, she's very well suited to the distance, so it's going to be a brilliant race. And there's other runners. I mean, you could go on quite a long time about a few of the rest, like number 9 Scarlet McCaw, number 11 Rainbow Lorikeet. So it's going to be a very competitive field, but I am siding with swingers number 3 Princess Izzy and number 5 Kinda Wonderful. Race 7, it is the Variety Club Mile, the grade 3, and obviously being over the 1600 meters. You've got 3-year-olds in this race, and it is a step up in class for them from a certain point of view. So number 3 Garrix, he went from a 97 to a 107. That said, I think that he's an improving sort of horse, and I think to see him in this company is fantastic. Number 2, the Grey King, Craig Zakia aboard. I think that he's got all the pace. He's come back. His head's in the game a little bit more. He's a very quirky individual, and well done to the Snails for getting him sort of back in the game and focused on that, because he has shown a lot of talent. Number 6, Magic Verse, is always a fascinating horse for me, because as soon as they put him over a little bit of a trip, he's done wonderful things, and it's really superb, because he was almost limited to 1400 meters. They tried him over a little bit further, and it was a spectacular thing. I think ignore his last run, and that's something you can most certainly look past. Talking about the other 3-year-old is number 9, Let It Be Said. I think that he's really fantastic. He's been consistent, another horse that's really improving. And the old soldier, number 11, Rascallion, he's the horse I need to speak about. I know it's an unfortunate draw of 11 he has to overcome. However, last time he wasn't drawn well. He typically overcomes wide draws. And I think with the experience of Andrew Fortune on, he'll know exactly how to produce this horse and what type of ride to give it. So I think that's very encouraging. And I think that for me, the standouts are number 2, the Grey King, number 6, Magic Verse, and number 11, Rascallion. That said, I do have respect for the 3-year-olds. Race 8. and that is celebrating Centurion member Jaeger-Na's birthday. It's a middle stakes over the 1800 meters, so the horses that enjoy a little bit of a trip. However, absolute standout for me is number 7, Lapulga. I think that he is spectacular. I thought his run in the big cap was phenomenal. And interesting though, the part that really gives me the encouragement about Lapulga is not just his form. It was also a comment that Candice Bass-Robinson made in a post-race interview, saying that he was a type of horse that you looked at him wrong and he had loose condition and he would just so a little bit nervous, and he had obviously just temperament-wise has settled into himself, and she said he's a completely different horse. He's has more substance to him, and he's just sort of settled into his routine of being a racehorse, which is really great. I think this is his race for the taking, absolutely. If you had to look past him, I mean, a horse like number 6, Lucha Verde, he's coming off a rest. He was, unfortunately, his last start he bled. But if you look above that, brilliant form. I've always thought him as a very nice horse. But I do think that number 8, Rule of Thumb, and number 9, Call Tonight, have solid enough form to threaten Lapulga. But again, Lapulga for me is an absolute standout here. My selection is a win on number 7, Lapulga. Race 9, celebrating Centurion member Brant Mahestian's birthday, middle stakes over the 1100 meters. Lots of birthdays this week. And this is a great race for some horses that just enjoy the minimum trip. If they get 1,000 meters, they can sometimes stretch a little bit further. It is going to be testing. We've had quite a bit of rain this week, so a nice give out of the track, but I think due to the season, it's going to just be spot on. So number 1, Elusive Winter. Since the blinkers and the tongue tie have been fitted, different horse. I think also him just being forward and going up with the pace has suited him very well. I however like number 8, Nordic Chief. I think he won so comfortably last time. He's big, substantial, he's a galloper. I know that was the 1,000, now it's 1,100, so that might be the challenge for him. But I think that he's a nice enough horse and shown great progress. Also, it's a brilliant family, and I remember whenever he runs, people remark at how outstanding this horse looked at the sale. He was such a standout that year, and I don't think that ever really fades. Other horses to consider, I think when you're looking at number 12, Walk With Me, he's an unlikely horse and comes with a lot of value. I think he's the type of horse that can run a place, especially if he floats down to the start. He's got a great turn of foot, and you always have to pay attention when Andrew Fortune's riding horse. The man does his homework before the noms even come out, so bear that in mind. The other horse is number 2, First Masterpiece. So a nice sort of wide open race and competitive one, but I do think that number 8, Nordic Chief, could be the horse to beat. And looking at it, for me, it would be a place on number 12, Walk With Me. As mentioned, just quite a bit of value about that, and I think that he will run a superb race in the company. Race 10, the last of the card, it's the Hollywoodbets Bright Future C Stakes over the 1,000 meters, talking about horses that enjoy the quick sprint trips. And for me, number 10, United Nation. It's his second run for Vaughan Marshall, and last time out, he was a little bit overzealous. He ran quite fresh, and he really is a massive, big, bold horse. And I think just being a little bit too prominent, he just faded at the end, needing the run. I think he'll be cherry ripe for this day's race meeting. I think that he'll run a big race. I'm very confident. Also nice that Sean Veal's sticking with him, because Sean was very complimentary about how he felt and how he ran, and he just said, no, he's big and strong and a lot of horse. The other one is number 7, the US of A. He's coming back off a race, would have needed his last run. I think 1,100 meters is a good trip for him. So he most certainly is a horse you could factor in. Together with number 11, Rattlesnake. He's not always the easiest mover. He's also got a very sensitive mouth and a high head carriage, but I think he seems to be finding his good groove. Whether 1,100 meters is going to be a touch too far for him or not, that's the question. And I think that he'll do very well. But it is number 10, United Nation, the horse that I'm really focusing on here. And I think that he'll run a brilliant race. He, as I mentioned, I think that he's in the right space physically and mentally to really do very well. So that's why my bet is in each way chance for number 10, United Nation. Thank you very much for joining us for the Perfectly Placed preview. Make sure that you listen to, again, those Perfectly Placed interviews from jockeys and trainers to see what their comments are and how they feel about their respective mounts or horses or runners. So looking forward to the race meeting, and join us. First race is off at 12 o'clock. It's going to be a brilliant one. There's good weather, and it's just going to be great to be racing on a competitive card.